goal, Quishbilly Huddersfield Town. The most famous goal of Quishbilly's life.
Is this the moment for Lee Fowler? It is. Take your place in Division 2, Huddersfield Town.
Thank you.
And Steve Simonson's boots now. He's missed. Steve Simonson clears the frame of the goal and collapses in a heap of tears. Huddersfield Town are promoted.
Mustafa Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. And he takes that chance.
Evening.
Bloody hell, what about this time tomorrow? How are we going to be doing? Never mind tonight. Jesus Christ, I can't believe it, man. It's tomorrow night. It's on, man. Bring it. Christ. Therapy.
Phil's having his tea. Go on, man. What are you having, Phil?
Chinese.
Nice.
No
Sunday night
sound.
Chinese.
Can you hear us talk? No. Can you hear us talk? No.
I can't, mate. No, I'm only on my phone tonight. I hope this is not a sign of things to come for tomorrow night.
It'll be all right on the night.
We need to get a Premier League platform for next year for when we're Premier League podcasters.
Oh, decent.
Go on, Kosi. You were down there, Kosi. How did it go?
Oh, my words. So, it's really strange coming down in a car and not real. There weren't no nerves, to be honest with you, like kicking in. And obviously, you have your radio on and Talk Sport had a nice kind of preview of the game and what have you on that as well. Then, obviously, Luton is a place where it's, like when you get to some grounds, you can see the floodlights, all the signs and stuff. It's a strange place because it's just hidden. So, even then coming to the game, it's like, there's pockets of town fans here and everywhere. And obviously, there's no real pubs. Well, there weren't where I were and that as well. But you know what? It was just like a slow burn. And when it got to about 7 o'clock, and so we got in the ground early, then it's like, wow. And there's people kind of texting you from outside your, the town family. And, are you excited? Come on, town. You can do it. At a Crystal Palace fan. And let's get back up. We can have a great away day, etc., etc. So, yeah. And then, obviously, the one thing I didn't realise on the ticket was you could sit anywhere, so it was unreserved. So it's stupid. Yeah. You had this ticket for a few days.
I'm just interrupting slightly, because I just want to see if people can hear me online, because I've just redone the microphone, so hopefully people can hear us. But yes, unreserved seating, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then obviously that helps you kind of get in there as well. But got in there about 7:30, and wow, obviously it's incredible when the players are warming up. They're almost like in with you. It's that tight. And yeah, the noise level just started early. The sign of a big game. I remember, like, back in the day, there used to be chanting starting out. Maybe I'm imagining this about half an hour before kick-off. I'm sure there were in them big games in the Leeds Road terrace and stuff. But, it's really weird now. Obviously, Poz, you try and get it going maybe 5 minutes before or what have you, maybe 10 minutes to service and what have you. But, yeah, 15 minutes before it were rocking in there. And then you just kind of knew, wow, this is, like, big business in the playoffs. And,
Right, guys,
Yeah,
we're all
you
good.
look-
We're all good now.
Yeah,
Shall we? Thanks, Kosi. That was excellent filling in there. Just
Waffling
while
on, and then
that was
the
great
whistle's
filling. I'll let you
blowing.
finish.
No, I
But-
just kind of some of the atmosphere, and then you're just looking around, it's people that you know, you're waving in there and stuff, and the players come out at the side, and wow, off we went, and that as well. Obviously, pick it up from there, Matt. But
do you know what? I'm going to do my intro again. I'm going to do my intro again because I spent 2.5 minutes writing this, so I'm going to do it. Damn it, I will do it. The playoffs, 180 minutes plus of torture, agony, ecstasy, a mini tournament which makes and breaks dreams. The dreams of two towns, Huddersfield and Luton, lay precariously under the banana trusses and floodlights of the John Smith Stadium, where both sides are set to duel in a shootout tomorrow at 7:45 p.m. With myself, Matt Shaw, to discuss the 1-1 draw at Kenilworth Road, fresh from representing Moldova in the Eurovision Song Contest last night, is Richard Kosi Kosmala, as you already know. And, of course, we have Poz and Phil. I'm not doing the rest. Right, guys. Kos, fantastic filling in. Sorry about that online. We're now loud and clear, which is fantastic. So what is also loud and clear is that we are sponsored by Magic Rock Brewing. So if you place an order on magicrockbrewing.com and use our code of AHTTC10, you will get 10% off your orders. And if you spend over £45, then you'll get your delivery for free. So there we go. Yeah, Kosi has already set the scene wonderfully with some absolutely professional filling in. And we're going to go to where Kosi left off there. Luton Town 1, Huddersfield Town 1. A couple of changes which were maybe not surprising. Levi Colwill not playing due to being unable to play a couple of games in a week due to his hip injury. So Nabisar stepped in. It was fantastic to see Sorba on the bench as well. Maybe a surprise at wing-back with Turton, but it looked like Town had set up really just to be tough and not to get beat. No surprises were really other than that with the starting lineup. Everything good. And then, within 10 seconds, we're all screaming and frothing behind the goal out with Kosi because Toffolo's diving in and there's a push in the back from James Bree and the referee waves play on. I was going mental there because it was right in front of me and I thought that is the most blatant penalty I've ever seen.
Were you at the right side of it, Matt?
I was in front, you see, and then right in front of Toffolo. And then I've watched it back on TV and I've thought it is a push, but he does kind of throw his hands up a bit and and make quite a bit of it. But it's a penalty still.
I think that it does go down, Matt. But as you know, the commentator as well said the theatricalness of Toffolo's fall.
That probably put the referee off, yeah.
But if you're running at full pace and just about to jump and someone pushes you, you're gonna. That's how you fall.
Yeah.
I didn't really buy that as an excuse for not giving it. Probably the more reason why it was 8-9 seconds in.
Oh, really, yeah.
If that happens after 35-40 minutes, that gets given that for me. But in that situation, referee, you bottled giving that, I think.
Poz is still frothing. I can still feel it on the voice.
I always think your gut reaction is your best one, and I didn't know. I looked at my friend and we looked at each other and we're like, "Is that just like happened?" And there were a lot of froth. When I watched it at half time on the Sky Go, because I wasn't sure at the time, but I was getting text saying that was a penalty. But when I watched it back at the Sky Go, the evidence for me was inconclusive, and but I just think again the big thing that you've not mentioned there, Matt, and we said last week the VAR's in. What we were saying last week, the VAR in, so that was a load of bollocks. We want in. Would it VAR have given it after seeing that Spurs Burnley game? 100% it'd have given it, but I wasn't kind of feel as cheap, and it was the same with their penalty, which we'll obviously come on to on that as well. But Toffolo might be watching this thinking, "What is this bald idiot doing it with a penalty all day long?" I'm just
he does watch sometimes, and I'm pretty sure he will be thinking that about all of us.
Instincts the first. I'll be honest with you. When it happened, I wasn't so sure, and when I watched the video, I'm less of thinking it's a penalty. So that's just my feelings on the night.
Go on, Phil. You round it up. I think it's a penalty, but I do understand why maybe the ref thought he'd made a lot of it, but it's still a penalty. You round it up. I've asked the poll to everybody watching online.
Yeah, I agree. I think the initial reaction was penalty. Instant bang straight away penalty. When you look at it back, he hasn't helped himself by, like you say, flinging his hands in the air. So I still think it's a penalty. I think when you're in a position like that and it's so close, positive right, running at speed, any little nudge, they knew what he was doing. The defender, always happens. A little bit of a nudge in the back, put him off. And he was never going to give it though. I've had that referee, he's refereed loads of times non-league and he's worked his way up and he's absolutely shocking. More worried about his hair and the size of his biceps.
I would hear people say that he bottled it because it were because it was so early on. But I think that's a different. If it's 89th minute, then I can get that argument. But I can't get it because I'm thinking there's still 2 legs to go and stuff like that as well. So to me, it wasn't a matter of a bottle job that took up to 2 minutes for me. I didn't think that was the argument.
I think for me, it's as a referee, you've got. I suppose there's always the tackle, but if you've been involved in football for a lot of your life, which referees presumably have, they've played, they've obviously got an interest in football. Otherwise, they won't do what they do. You've got to sometimes think of the 5. There might be 5 or 6 different elements to it. So it's early on. Yeah, you've got to judge the foul on the foul. But for me, the biggest thing is, why would Toffolo dive in that situation?
Yeah,
why would he do that? He's going to score. So why would he throw himself on floor to win a penalty when, if he don't do that, he scores an header and 10 seconds in, we'll 1-0 up in the playoff semi-final. And that to me is what sometimes a referee should take a couple of seconds to maybe weigh up all those little elements and say, yeah, it is or no, it isn't. It shouldn't just. I know, like, obviously it is the foul that is judged, but there's more to it than that sometimes, and you might not get a great angle on it. You might not see the exact foul, but it's same like when players sort of go around keeper and stuff and they go down and they don't get the penalties. It's almost like, well, he's got an open net to pass it into. Why would he dive? Yeah. It's pointless. So I think sometimes the referee
be interested to see where the ref was stood. I don't know if
he were edge of 18-yard box, basically looking right at it. Yeah, clear line of sight and everything.
Yeah, but would it have been a sending off as well? Is that coming to it as well? Because essentially he's done it on purpose, and therefore the rules now are if the decision is an intentional one, it's a straight red, isn't it? So maybe that came into it.
What about the linesman?
Linesman were other side, wasn't it, where Cross came in from, so he's probably not got a great view. But yeah, I suppose as well, Matt, maybe that came into his mind that, look, shit, if I give this penalty, I'm going to have to send him off.
Red card for that, honestly. You reckon that could be red?
Well, it's the rules, isn't it? If he stops a goal scoring opportunity on purpose, which it was an intentional push, then yeah, it's a red card.
Because he was from behind. So because that'd be a strange one, wouldn't it? If he were goal side, and lads just kind of come in just across him and he pulls him back a little bit, goal scoring opportunity. Would that be a sending off?
No, goal scoring opportunity is different. If you make it, and now it's supposed to be something along the lines of if you make a genuine attempt for the ball, then it's a yellow. Whereas if you don't make an attempt for the ball and you foul on purpose, it's a red. So that's
Matt, that should have been a red, shouldn't it? Yeah, he just pushed him. He pushes him in neck almost.
Yeah,
it's like that, innit?
So what I just said there about not a reason to give it 2 minutes. That's you've probably answered my question there, because if he's got to send him off, then that maybe it's played into his mind. That's probably you bit the nail on the head there.
Yeah, it'd be harsh as well. It'd be harsh for a little. No, just a bit harsh. Where's Poz gone? He's buggered off. I think he's had enough. He's frothed and gone. He's frothed and come out of the pipe. Is he? He's disappeared for me. Right. So after Toffolo got a little bit of revenge after that, because it was such a frantic start, wasn't it? Luton, I thought, was superb first half. I thought they were brilliant. Luton do, they're Ron Seal out there. They do as it says on the tin. They hit those diagonal long balls. Cal Naismith does the diagonal from that side. Bradley and James Bree, etc., from that side. Reece Burke, and they really got into us. But we scored against the run of play, didn't we? A little bit of revenge from Toffolo. Great little run, and he threads through Daniel Sinani, doesn't he? And Daniel Sinani moves onto his right foot, and you're kind of thinking, and your excitement just goes down a notch because he's very left-footed, isn't he? And then he shoots near post. And from where we were, you were a bit, I think, further over than me. It felt like he'd hit the side netting because you just don't expect the goalkeeper, Phil, to be so far over and leave that gap. But it didn't. It went in the net, and that away end was absolutely crazy, wasn't it? Because people flying everywhere and people falling up and down the stairs. A couple of people looked hurt at one point, but it was a little bit
fantastic, mate. It would a goal of a cracking team, a class team, a team that's finished third in the division. It would a goal. Well, I've watched it back about 9 million times, I think, and that as well. But it's sensational how it all starts on that as well. Home, the shielding, and the other thing as well to think of Sinani, because when you look back, you're thinking it was Holmes, wasn't it? At the other side, he's in so much space. And part of me is thinking pass it, but then I suppose would Holmes have to take a touch to fire it in? But I was thinking shoot, and again, if you don't buy a ticket, don't win the raffle. But that noise it makes on the telly when it goes, it
rattles the net, doesn't it?
Yeah, and the millisecond before the away and loses its shit, he's just the greatest feeling ever. And it went absolutely wild. Chuff for Sinani, we've mentioned him, haven't we, so many times on here when he's so dangerous. But let's go with absolute class. And I know Andy Hinchcliffe's not one of my favourite pundits, but that's what Huddersfield Town are about this season. It's just it's almost like luring teams into a a trap and then bang, but brilliant goal. And again, you're thinking at that time, where are we going from here? We're going to push on. Have we scored too early? But I was chuffed, and honestly, I've watched that back so many times, but let's hope it means something tomorrow.
The pass was great, wasn't it? He delayed it just that little bit more because he could have played it out wider, quicker. So obviously, time for the defenders to recover. But he delayed, and it were almost a straight pass down the middle, really.
Phil, is that a bad keeping or what?
Yeah, I kept looking. Someone said straight away as soon as we were watching it.
It's a good finish, isn't it? But you, as a goalkeeper, Phil, I'd be upset.
Straight, yes, it went near post. Everyone always says near post, but I mean you've got to look how close the player is to the keeper, okay? Because it's irrelevant. Because if you're in the middle of goal and the striker's shooting from the middle of the goal and he hits it back down next to your feet, no one's complaining. No one's saying, "Oh yeah, you should have saved it." But if you're on your angle, all of a sudden you shouldn't get beat by your near post. I think he probably will be a little bit upset, but he caught it sweet, and he actually let one of the reasons why it probably caught him out where he let it just come across his body a little bit more than what you'd expect. So just delayed it a little bit, and like I say, caught it sweet, a little bit of right to left. Great finish, but like I say, the build up was brilliant. But I just worried me because as soon as we scored early, I thought I don't know if this is going to help us. But yeah, I think it played out how I expected it to play out. To be honest.
It was a brilliant moment, wasn't it? But I'd say we've got Poz as I think he's back on, but we can't see him at the minute. He's either in the dark or he's switched his phone.
Looks like he's buffering, mate. He's trying to get back in, but yeah.
But yeah, Kosi, brilliant one in the stands as well. Absolutely great moment. Just buying Poz a few bit of time just in case they want to talk about it. But Luton, they really cranked up the pressure, didn't they? Like I say, they were excellent for the rest of the first half, and their first opportunity really came when I thought Cameron Jerome, he dropped down to MK Dons, hadn't he? He's struggling for a club not so long since dropped down to MK Dons. Did really well there, and he's come back up to the Championship, and he's fair play to him. He's done really, really well as Cameron Jerome, and he caused a lot of problems for Tom Lees. I thought first half, Tom Lees really struggled to get to grips with him, and then that ball goes through, and Naby Sarr's chasing Cameron Jerome. What did you make, Cos, of the Nathan Jones has obviously had his say. He's not very happy that it's not a penalty. How did you see that one?
Well, through a bad view, to be honest with you, and that as well. Just bring in Poz. I think he's back just to check. Poz, what did you think of the decision? I think he's still struggling with his sound. You know what, Matt? Again, it was another one I had to look at half time. We had a stinking view of it, to be honest with you. But at half time, I'm hearing someone text me from work saying, "Oh, you got lucky there." So I never, because at the time I didn't think it was a penalty from a bad angle, albeit, but it didn't feel like we'd kind of got away with something there. And then I was getting a couple of texts saying, "Oh, you got away with one there," and they were like, "Wow, was it kind of that?" And then, but you know what? Again, when I watched the replay back, similar to the Toffolo, I mean, for a red card as well as that. But like you said, Matt, if that's the rule, he's got to go last man and stuff. But it were classic Sarr, wasn't it? Defending on the.
Well, they're pauses.
Yeah, it were classic Sarr, wasn't it? It were a bit like kind of cover your eyes kind of scenario. But no, I didn't think it was a penalty, mate.
I don't.
I thought my view on this might be a bit controversial because it seemed to be universal that it was a penalty. Sorry, I'm just adding you back into the scene. Pause. And then we've got you back over now. So there we go. You should be back live with us now. But for me, when the ball goes through, Cameron Jerome's got the advantage. Naby goes to put his hand on Cameron Jerome, which is a bit of a no-no. But Cameron Jerome then straight arms him and pushes Naby Sarr and goes into him, which then that incident there is what causes the coming together of the legs. And it's the push from Cameron Jerome which causes the legs to come together. So for me, it's sorry, Nathan, but Cameron Jerome's the one who commits the foul for me there, and you're lucky you got a corner, as far as I'm concerned. But from another point of view, if that's us, I would argue that Cameron Jerome is just pushing away Naby's hand on his shoulder, and it's a penalty. So I'm a biased Huddersfield fan, but I think when I look back, I don't think it's a penalty. And he still got his shot off anyway, kind of. But for me, it's not a penalty.
Jones were making out like it was a stone wall, and they were talking about when I was in it on radio at way home. I was thinking, have I fallen asleep for 10 minutes and missed another penalty, kind of opportunity? Because he were making out it was unbelievable. If you hadn't watched the game, you listen to this guy, you think, bloody hell, Luton were robbed. Really? Bloody hell, ours were more of the case. And then as
That's
usual. After he kind of brushed over Toffolo's, didn't he, in that as well? But
I tell you what though, if Jones is banging on about penalty stuff and penalty shouts, what he wants to do is watch it back and just see how many times from set pieces his players are basically hugging ours, because obviously we're a danger from set pieces, and Luton must have known that, because for every single ball we put in, and on another day a referee could have give 3 or 4 penalties to us because they're all over us. There were one where I think Nabisar from a free kick that potentially could have been given, and various others when Holmes were taking the throw-ins. I think at one point Russell were at front post and he had 5 players around him, all jostling him and pushing him and pulling him and stuff. And I think it was just like you say, because a bit of sour grapes from Jones there.
I generally wouldn't get upset by anything Nathan Jones says, and I say that to Huddersfield fans. He's just trying to play the backs against the wall. Everyone's against us. It's like us versus the world thing. David Wagner. David Wagner did this though, mate, didn't he? But in a very different kind of way. So
he did it without being a dick. He did it in a subtle way.
Yeah, exactly. It's just playing the game, and I'm not that bothered. He can try play his games. I think the likes of Carlos, etc., will see straight through exactly what he's trying to do. So I won't worry too much about it. Nathan Jones, it's not a penalty for us. I'm happy to say that
think?
people are on the right thing.
What? No, nowhere near. Nathan, you're right. Nathan Jones is just talking a load of rubbish. He's just trying to deflect away from his players. It's never ever been a penalty. Side to side with each other, a little bit of jostling. Maybe got the feet caught between each other, but for me, it's not a penalty. Not a penalty.
No.
The man has spoken. No penalty. Speaking of penalties, I did actually put a not a twig. I'm just reading a comment there. Sorry to Mr. Dor, from Nottingham Forest fan who's watching us. He's put. So I put Huddersfield Town penalty 30 minutes ago. Penalty on Toffolo, yes or no? 92% now say yes, 8% say no. I'm going to end the poll there. So yeah, the consensus of the biased blue and white wearing spectacles think it was a penalty. So not really surprising, is it, from there? But let's give Luton the credit, lads, because they, like I say, they came back into it. I think they really talking tactics and stuff. I think the way that Nathan Jones set up, to his credit, them going 4-4-2 was a little bit of a change from what they usually do. And I think that really sort of surprised us from the off. And their plan really was just to go direct over the top of us and really try and bully over the top of us. And fair play, like I said, there's more than one way to skin a cat. You don't have to play beautiful passing football to win a game, do you? I thought for the first half, it felt like Luton just sort of set the stall out and said, you know what, we're going to get right into Huddersfield. We're going to really try and get up them. We're going to bully them, harass them. And we're going to try and take this game away from them in the first half of the first game. And I think Town did really well to stand up to it, in all honesty. I thought Luton were excellent in what they were trying to do. Really difficult to play against. And I think they come out of that with a lot of credit. And the goal they scored in terms of the rules is not offside. It's a goal because he doesn't touch it. So, no issue.
No.
Even though it stood in offside position. I only saw it at the time and I didn't think it was a free kick. But, you've got to defend it as well, haven't you? So
100%. Yeah, I'm not using that as a reason. Once that free kick's given, you've got to defend it. But yeah,
you know what's annoying about that is, but again, that's just the quality of the teams involved, because we're set piece kings and so are they. But it's like what's going to happen, but can you stop it? And I think it was Hogg. Did Hogg lose Bradley? I don't know. Wrong side of him and that as well. And as soon as it were pumped in,
it was a great.
It's an audible view, Matt, in it from that away, and you can't see absolutely jack. And
I love that stadium. I think it's so great because it's such a throwback. And you're going up the steps, and we were looking out over, and you could see somebody's trampoline in the garden and what have you while you're in the away end. And but the view isn't the best.
The trouble is every time you got into their half, because there were free kicks. I thought, hang on a minute, they just got into our half, and it's like about 50 yards from goal, but they're not, because the pitch is that small. And you know what? I have to just applaud. Just Luton set piece and that as well, because it was just fantastic, mate. That's training ground stuff. It's what they're good at. It's what we've been good at all year. So it's almost like what the biters getting bit, really, and that as well. And at that moment, you're thinking, "Ooh, that's a bit of a blow." And their crowd are backing it as well, because they were pretty quiet, weren't they? Obviously, we were singing and stuff. And when that goes in, I'm just thinking, let's just get it through to half time.
I think Cameron Jerome had a great strike as well that just whistled over, and if that had gone in, it could have been a different thing. But just coming back to what you said, Matt, about how Luton set up, it's interesting you say that, because I was watching first half, and if you'd have told me Lewis O'Brien were on pitch, I'd have been like, where? Because he never had a sniff really, because like you said, they went over him, and I just felt Town struggled to move, apart from the goal, obviously, get the ball in Luton's half and hold on to it. It seemed to go forward and come back really quickly. I think Luton tired second half, and you saw our midfield get on top. Holmes made some great runs forward. O'Brien got more involved, and Johnny Russell as well got a lot more involved on that ball a little bit more. So it'll be interesting to see how Luton set up at our place, because although they played that long ball and they had a lot of possession, I never really felt threatened by that sort of tactic. I thought Sarr and Lee did really well in blocking off and intercepting and just basically being a nuisance and getting in way. And apart from the goal and that strike from Jerome, there weren't many moments in that first half where I thought, bloody hell, we're under Kosi here, and they're going to get one at any minute. A few people, I watched it up in Cricket Club, and a few people in there were, sort of, come on, we need to get on ball, and I was sort of saying, no, they're not, they've got possession, they're knocking it long, but they're not really causing us any great danger, really. And I kind of felt like that throughout, and I think with 20 minutes to go, I think Luton ran out of ideas. So if they're going to play a very similar game at our place tomorrow, I think we'll cope with it. I think we'll cope with it well.
You were mentioning O'Brien. My mate made a good point to us on that. So I'm sure he said Jordan Clark, or it might have been Campbell, but he was just getting man marks everywhere. O'Brien went, he followed, pushing, pulling on his shirt. They were giving him absolutely nothing, and it was clear that Jones had identified O'Brien as a key player for us.
Yeah, definitely.
He just had nothing, and and that we're quite. It's obviously a credit to him, and he's going to have to cope with that as the career carries on. Through the hopefully with us in the Premier League and stuff. But yeah, that would have. It was like, bloody hell, Lewis, like, just get away from him. But he was like just like grabbing him and pulling him.
Yeah, I think like you say, because we've got probably a little bit better quality individually.
The pitch is going to be big tomorrow. That's the thing, I think. The pitch is massive, for us. It's incredible there. It's like people, it's almost like when the ball went for a throw and you're almost in the crowd trying to get it back on that as well. It's only, people who've been there on Friday might know, but I went there before, but it really is a totally different world down there on that stadium and the pitch, and that's why I think having a second leg at home is massive for us tomorrow. He says having this will be played back on the Luton podcast when they're beating us on it tomorrow. But yeah, honestly, the pitch, I just went away from that thinking our pitch is going to be huge. Literally next week.
Yeah, that's what common sense and logic says, but it often goes out the window, doesn't it, in the playoffs? And to be fair, we've not won a home playoff game ever, apart from our penalties against Bournemouth in 2011. So 9 attempts and no wins by the penalty shootout. So, hopefully, fingers crossed. We mentioned Carlos been ghost busting all season, hasn't he, with wins away from home, like Fulham, etc. So hopefully that's another. I
don't know what you thought half time, Matt, but my big quandary is what's going to happen second half in the sense of, are we just going to kind of keep it? Because I just thought the onus is on Luton now to try and win the game being at home. But it never really panned out that second half as well. And I thought, I don't think we're going to kind of go for it. And even when Sober came on, I didn't think it were like, right, let's try and get a late winner and stuff like that as well. So I was quite surprised, really, how I was a bit concerned at half-time thinking they might get in a roll. And I think half-time came at a good time for us. But it never really happened. And it was like the game I thought it would be before the game where, because at half-time, I made a comment, it's brilliant, the playoff game, both teams going for it. And people text me, it's great to see both teams going for it. But that did not happen second half. And it was almost like, I don't know why it did. You're more tacticians than me. Why do you reckon that was?
I was really frustrated with, not to, I don't really want to dig him out, but I was frustrated with the role Ollie Turton was playing because he was very narrow as a right wing back and he was very reticent to join the attack and overlap, from wing back. He was playing more of a full back as a wing back, and I just felt that
that's his role, though, isn't it, Matt?
Yeah, that's what he does. But I just felt it was.
That's when came on, isn't it? Just because.
Well, apparently he was injured. Yeah, apparently he was injured in the last moment of the first half. But I genuinely thought Pippa and Pippa's ability to carry the ball down the right flank and actually offer more of an outlet really opened it up. And what that allowed us to do is we brought Dwayne into the middle and Dan El-Sinani dropped, and then all of a sudden. John Russell was just, every time John Russell got the ball, there were 2-3 men around him all the time. And there was that time when Jack Grealish light, pretty much slow danced him into the centre circle, after he got the ball. And, there's a lot of little changes by Carlos, and most of it was around trying to get more bodies into the centre of midfield, and then the three at the back could actually play through into midfield rather than having to go long. And if you look at the stats from the game, we actually hit more long balls than Luton. So we can't really sit here and say, anyone say Luton are a hoofball outfit or anything like that, because we hit more long balls than them. Granted, 25 of them were from Lee Nichols' boot, but it really also highlights the struggle that we had on the ball in that first half, and the struggle to get onto it. But second half, we had 66% possession, and Dwayne Holmes and Daniel Sinani were excellent in that second half. Dwayne, in particular, I thought was outstanding. He dropped into really good little pockets, picked up the ball, drove at them, and there was a chance Lewis O'Brien had where he kind of went across goal and it got blocked, and if it had gone near post, he'd have been able to get a clear shot off. But it happens, and we forgot to mention Danny Ward's glancing header in the first half as well, which maybe he could have done a bit more with. That was a really good chance for Danny.
The only thing that Matt is with Pippa is, I don't doubt, definitely going forward, he gives us more. But
he could do some silly shit, can Pippa?
In the air, I'm worried about him in the air, and they love them.
Oh, he's not too bad. He's not. I don't think he's too bad, actually.
That concerns me. If he starts tomorrow, which I think he will,
I think he will. I think he will, but I think it'll be a back three, so he'll be as a wing back again. I think Stephen did some stats that showed the majority of teams that have beaten Luton this season play with a back five, and that seems to be how they struggle more. So I would imagine Town will follow that template and play with the 5-3-2 or the 5-3-1-1 again.
Matt, you'll have had that. You've seen that opportunity second half where, for a minute, I can't remember what that got that shot. I went inside netting, and it's like, for a minute, it was like, shit, has this crept in his near post and that as well? And their fans.
Oh, for them.
Yeah.
Oh, I had a really good view of that from the header where Tom Lees went up. I had a really good view of that, and I could see it going wide. I was quite lucky with my view. Otherwise, it'd have been
a few out mouth moments there. But
you know what, Saad's done well, and we've praised him, but it makes me wonder whether it's a plan to play Colwell tomorrow. But
I think so.
Saad, he were playing on the edge so many times. I get it's a playoff game, but he was charging into some tackles. There were one where it looked like he'd shepherd the ball out for a goal kick in that second half, but I thought it was more luck than judgment, and it does worry me, and I'd want to see Colwell in tomorrow. As much as I love Naby, mate, it's fascinating. I'd love to know how fit he's going to be, Colwell, and that as well.
I think he'll be all right. From what I think it said in the press conference, it was he has a little hip issue. I think O'Brien has a hip issue as well, and it's the amount of games. So I don't think he can play like Saturday, Tuesday, Colwell. So I think they have to kind of manage him, and then he can play once.
Maybe they've identified that Kosi and thought, if he can't play two, let's play Star down there where it's going to be a little bit more on top for Town, long ball, edit Naby, kick it Naby, and then Colwell comes in tomorrow because, in theory, we should have more at ball and he can play out a little bit better.
It did. To be fair, Naby did well, so it's a decision to drop him, isn't it?
I'll tell you, one thing that I so near to your goal, aren't you, at Luton behind that goal, but Nichols, the balls he's got, some of them balls he were like whipping in just like in the 6-yard box, and if he gets a millisecond wrong, it's like an attacker's got his foot on that and probably tapping him into empty net, like the goal Luton's goal, wasn't it, the other night? But it's like, honestly, that is a guy playing with total confidence, because Partiers, I'll never forget it, Pos, when I forgot who name went out. Who was our keeper that we had on loan from Liverpool? Because that was at Luton before.
Oh, Grabara.
I remember saying on the pod, he got abused, like, get it kicked out.
Yeah.
And he got bullied into kicking it long. But Nichols, honestly, I just in awe. That's a guy playing at the peak of his powers. But for me, it's like, oh my God, it's inches away from getting intercepted, and we're playing on like a zone goal line, man.
Yeah, I think apart from Phil, obviously, I think Nichols is probably the best keeper that we've had at Town.
I think we've been lucky. I think we've had some good ones. Ward was good.
He
was good. I think we've obviously had a couple that's not quite worked out, but it was really impressive. I thought the other night, coming and punching and coming and catching under pressure. On a small pitch like that, when you're under pressure, fans are on top of it, what you need, you've got to have a goalkeeper who's going to stand up and be countered.
Phil, all their fans had been clearly briefed by their media or Nathan Jones. I must have missed this in the presser, because any time Nichols took any time on the ball, they were running. And all the stadium that were unique. It wasn't just a few. So they'd been. I must have missed this, but I'm no doubt Jones must have gone in their presser.
So to be fair, At one point, he held it for about 2 minutes, I'm sure, in his hands. And he was just like, everyone would just stood there for about 2 minutes and he was just like, nope, no one's rushing me yet. Nope.
I was going to say, because you work at Sky Bet, don't you? Get it priced up for Nichols to get booked tomorrow night because it's nailed on.
I don't think
nailed on
there anymore. I still don't have a job, man. It's still good bankrupt.
Right. So I think that's pretty much the game, isn't it? The game from there. Town, finished in the ascendancy, really. The last half hour did really well. In the end, the draw was, I think, the fair result.
What were your feelings as the whistle blew? I were absolutely delighted.
Yeah,
with the draw, because I thought at half time
mixed.
Well, you mixed, Matt.
I was mixed because first, if you'd have told me at half time it'll end 1-1, I'd have been yes, take it, really desperate. Yeah. But at the end, I was like, do you know what? We were the better side that second half, and we could have probably nicked that. But I think that might be a bit greedy, to be honest.
Sometimes a draw. I know it sounds silly, but a draw can sometimes be better than a one goal being in front. Because if Luton have to come to town and get something, they'll fly at us. I think at 1-1, I think they'll sit and try to see it out as long as they can and look to play on counter. Whereas if it's the other way around, they come out and they're all guns blazing. And do you know what I mean? I think it just sets it up nicely me for literally a one-off game. And Town at home, I know we've never won a game in playoffs and all that business at home, but how many little things like that has Carlos jinxed this season? There's we never win when we go behind. And
we were saying ghostbusting earlier. Yeah.
Also, another thing I noticed as well, I thought physically we were strong, we were really good. Some of their guys were dropping down later.
They were knackered, man. Absolutely knackered.
Exactly. They were knackered. They'd done a lot of chest out. And I thought that were a really good signs because I was thinking, big pitch on Monday, 20,000 Town fans losing. And, we've got as gun players to come back if we need to.
I thought if that game goes 10 minutes longer, we win that, I think. Yeah. They were dead. They were out on their feet. And there were a few times actually where we broke. And you watching it and, you on TV as well, you can kind of see a little bit better than what you guys were, and a couple of passes that just had a little bit more weight on, or a different pass rather than the one that we chose, and we'd have scored a couple on counter attack as well. So I think, as you say, because the way that we are, that we're probably a little bit fitter than what they are on a bigger pitch. If we've got most of the ball and they're kind of chasing, I think I feel confident. I know there's the warm up show to discuss all this sort of stuff, but I feel confident.
The more people talk like Pos, the more worried I get because. I came away. I don't want to be I'll explain. No, you're not. But I came away and I thought, do you know what? I think we can win this game at home, but there are some serious Peterborough 1992 vibes in that. It was a midweek game away in the same area-ish of the country. I know they're not quite next door, but the same sort of area for Town fans, and. Really raucous. Kosi, you'll remember, really raucous away. And the London Road was electric, wasn't it, in the away end? In 1992, it was unbelievable. I was just a kid, but for me, it was one of the best atmospheres I can remember. And there was a real feeling amongst Town fans that it was job done. We were the better side, especially in the second half against them, and there was a real job done feeling coming back. And we went 1-0 up early at Leeds Road, and then and then we just imploded, didn't we? Sort of last half hour, and I just. Remember that, and I think every playoff I'll go into now, I will always remember my first experience, and it just when we draw like that away from home to come home, and I'm just like,
see, I don't feel that, Matt, and I Podder made a good argument there.
PTSD, mate, PTSD.
The Barnsley away with the Tiller Fletcher and that as well, because I think there were a bit of balance. We discussed this last week, but I think we can play better. I don't think they can.
Yeah, I can.
I agree with that. Play better.
It depends if Adebayo's fit. If Elijah Adebayo's fit, then that changes things a lot, I think, for them because he's a quality footballer.
Yeah, I can't remember if I said it on pod or if I was chatting away with mates, but I have this nagging. The only nagging doubt I have that he gets winner. Because with that incident and all that sort of stuff.
The biggest thing for us tomorrow,
and all that, and it's like,
just don't give any set pieces away.
Yeah,
it's easier said than done. Don't give any corners. Don't give any free kicks. We paid the price Friday. I think they can hurt us with them, but I don't see them. God, famous last words. But I think we can hurt them so many other ways than they can hurt us. I think we're fitter, we're stronger. We've got better players. I think it's our time. If we lose tomorrow or we get knocked out tomorrow, it will be because we've ballsed it up rather than
it's ours to lose.
We're a better team.
I think they're a good side, mate. I really do think Luton are a good side.
We've seen the best of them, Matt. It's our turn.
Maybe it depends what depends what players come back in for them. And you cast your mind back to the league game as well. and Adebayo sticks that penalty in, Kosi, and you think Luton had won that game, don't you? So it still, for me, is really on a knife edge. I genuinely think a bad decision either way could really tilt this game, because Nathan Jones said it, and I agreed with him. The margins between the two sides are quite small, and it's just going to take one of those margins just to push one team or the other over the line.
The home advantage is going to be huge, though. The crowd and everything. We'll get onto that in a bit, but I just think that's going to be absolutely massive for us. I don't see this team being a bottle job. I don't.
No, I don't either. I don't either.
I might feel different tomorrow when I wake up and come towards the game, the nerves. But I mean, people could read it in other comments. But honestly, I'm very confident for tomorrow, because I just think we've got better players, bigger pitch, home advantage. Can they cope with us and that as well? If it takes extra time, 80 minutes and stuff. We didn't play that well against Luton, but we beat them before. They haven't beaten us yet this year. We've beaten them. We can do it.
It took a John Russell special, didn't it, to break them down as well in the league game. That was a bit special from Big John. We do know
for sure they'll do everything to win tomorrow. They'll throw everything at us. It'll be an absolute battle, but we expect that. But I just think we've got the class, mate. And honestly, people going there tomorrow, they've got to take a leaf out of our book on Friday, Matt. It was like sensational atmosphere, man. We need to
we've got about 50. Where's Poz gone again? There's about 50 tickets left. Get them sold. Get them bought. There's a real. We could create something really good. At the stadium. Get behind the team. Sing. Cheer them on, because this is a once. This generally could be a once in a 5-10 year opportunity to get to Wembley. If we don't get over the line in this this game, then you never know when this opportunity is going to come around. Don't let it pass. Do your bit. Get there. Get fired in and be as up for it as I'm sure the players will be, and and hopefully we can do something pretty special. But let me read out some comments now, because I did ask online for people's opinions, and I'll get to that just now. So, Pos has been kicked off again, but I don't know why. Right. So let's have a look at what people are saying. They are saying, Mr. Dorr on tour, the Nottingham Forest fans asking if we've got our fireworks ready. He's a good lad, is Mr. Dorr. Richard Huckey says, I thought Cameron Jerome's push on Sarr, and as Sarr was falling, they were a tangle of legs. Yep, that's what I thought as well, Richard. Steve Blackburn says, Nathan Jones is a clown. Mind games only work if your facts are right. Only Hogg played in the Premier with us, not half the team, as he said. And then let's go down. So Leo says, need to watch Adebayo, could be playing tomorrow. Brett Littlewood said, how about Lewis O'Brien's performance? Anonymous for the majority of the game. I think Poz covered that. It's Lions says, stop worrying, lads. We're going to Wembley. Steve Blackburn says, time to break the no home leg win in playoffs record. Robert Wood says, I think our fitness will win us the game. Steve Blackburn again. Carlos is the Ghostbuster. It's Lion. Ponty Terrier says, that Ward header in the first half was a big chance. Got to score that. Leo says, Colwell wasn't very well early in the week, hence why Sarr was playing. Talk Huddersfield Town. Says we've inspired them. Chris Green. Chris says, I think we should have enough to beat them. On paper, we are a better side than them. Also, can't forget what we've been like at home since November. Just one home defeat. The John Smith Stadium is a fortress. And then Richard Stacey says, if Naby doesn't score, Cole will. So let's skim through. Let's have a look. BFG Tom says, I see us scoring early on. First 15, probably. The big question then is what we do next. If we try and defend it, then it will give them chances. If we score a second, then it's game over. And then Steve Blackburn says, imagine winning a playoff semi, not in extra time penalties and normal time. That would be something different, wouldn't it? And Leo says, biggest home game in history at this ground. Yep. And then that's it. So from there, so thanks to everyone online. So, cause, our game's evenly poised. Hang on a sec. I can't hear you, Cos. Are you muted? No, can't hear you both.
Go on.
There you are.
Adebayo might not be fit. Colwell might. Like in a game like this with adrenaline, there's going to be a full stadium. How fit? I know you could say, well, Sober Thomas at 60%, playing X amount of minutes. What do you still need to, or can adrenaline kind of carry you through, or does it all depend on the individual? Because there's a lot of players with a lot of fitness kind of doubts for both teams. But I'm just thinking in the occasion, you want to play, but can it backfire, or how do you feel about it?
100%. I remember playing the game. I don't know if it was Boxing Day. It was Darlington away. Not the one where I let that goal in over my head. And the couple of days previous, I done my shoulder in, so I couldn't. My body literally wouldn't let me dive to my right hand side. But you just knew that once you got on the pitch, adrenaline takes over. Fortunately, every ball that came in went to my left. Weirdly, it's not going to make a blind bit of difference. If someone's got a little bit of a niggle, they're still going to play. It's a massive game, so you still want to play.
Phil, would you start with Sorba?
What's that? Sorry,
Sorba Thomas. Would you start with him tomorrow?
I think if he is willing to play, and you're not gonna, because you've got to think out what's the rest if you get into the final. Is it a week and a half? So will week and a half be enough for recovery? I think that's probably what you're looking at. It depends which way the gaffer wants to go, doesn't it? Because if end of the day you need to get in the final first and foremost. So do you throw all your eggs in one basket and just say, right, if you're fit enough, you're playing, and then maybe in the final he could be struggling or might come off the bench or whatever, you don't know. But I think you've got to play your best team, your fittest, your best team. Even if it's not your fittest, and people will struggle, you've got to play.
You could argue, Phil, he didn't do that on Friday, but obviously we had a picture on Monday and that as well. So do you think it's a different argument that he didn't do it on Friday to tomorrow? Because it's almost like don't die wondering. But like say, started Sorba on Friday, got knackered after half an hour, he's out for Monday, and then we need a bit of magic. It's maybe he's played a plan.
Carlos has planned. Carlos will have planned all this down to a T. The way that we played Friday, you can see what he was trying to do, how he's trying to play, what he's got in mind, and like I said, like Monday, it'll be totally different. He'll have a totally different plan, and he will be looking to play his best players, 100%. Whatever he thinks is the best way for us to go forward, he will do. Maybe Colwell. I can't remember who said it now, but I would have done the same. I'd have played Nabisar away at Luton because you know you're going to get balls into the box in a tight ground, so there's going to be a massive aerial battles. Levi playing at Huddersfield on a massive pitch, 100% playing because he's going to dictate play from the back as well. So it's a no-brainer, really.
Kosi, you wanted to touch on the Sheffield United and Forest game, didn't you? The first leg at Bramall Lane. Sheffield United 1, Nottingham Forest 2. I did watch most of this, and I'll be honest with you, mate. The first hour, I thought Nottingham Forest looked like a Premier League side. I thought they looked very, very good, and I genuinely thought when I was watching it, I was like, they are so well balanced as a team. They've just got such a great balance with the two wing backs. They've got Colback's actually decent as a wing back. Jed Spence is outstanding. The back three have got a really lovely balance. They can overlap if they need to. They can play into midfield. The keeper can play out from the back. I think Yates is a fantastic midfielder. I think he's a really good player who plays in midfield for them. He wins all sorts. Garner's a really good ball player, so you can see it. And then Zinkernagel, Brennan Johnson, outstanding player, and then Surridge up front. They look fantastic, didn't they? And then Sheffield United just got that goal at the end just to make it interesting. But Sheffield United do this because I watched them against. I chat to Johnny who does the Shoreham View, a Sheffield United podcast, a little bit. He's a really good guy, and I watched them against QPR, and they were diabolical against QPR in the first half, and then in the second half they were excellent and blasted QPR away. And he tells me they like that quite a lot, where they just won't turn up for half of something, and then the second half be really good. So I'm hoping that Sheffield United, turn up at the City Ground and surprise a few people, because I think that would be a really good sort of spectacle and a decent game to watch, irrespective of what happens with us. But yeah, I thought it was a good game, mate. But I thought Forest looked really good. I'd see what you think.
Yeah, absolutely. Just sorry, before I get going on that, I just thought I'd have a quick look at our team against Luton at home in the month before. You're seeing here that Jonathan Hogg, I do remember it now. Lees, Hogg, and Colwell. Hogg played as a centre back that night. Pippa, Russell, O'Brien, and Toffolo kind of midfield for Sinani, Ward, and Thomas. So Lee Nichols at the back. So maybe probably exactly the same, I reckon, apart from obviously Colwell will come in at centre back and that as well. And drop one of those out. But the game on Saturday, wow, what a game that was. It was incredible. And again, I think it just shows the magic of football in the playoffs, because Forest should have been out of sight, and they'll be still obviously extremely confident. Their home record is ridiculous as well. But the TV producer thinking, we're going to talk this up for the second leg and that as well. And Don Goodman were kind of right in the last rights, wasn't he, on Sheffield United, and then Burge gets that header in. But wow, in the first half, it was just sensational football. Brennan Johnson, every time he got the ball, he looked like he was going to, cause some damage in that as well. And United, I think they really suffered for not having the forwards kind of in there, and that as well. But it was incredible. They were getting so easily like to the edge of the penalty area with Forest, and wow. If anyone if they cover the score up, Matt, and kind of you just watch that and you don't know what had happened, and you're thinking, wow, there's only one goal between the teams there. It was just incredible. And obviously, Heckingbottom's going to come off. I don't know what he can come up with, to be honest with you, for the second leg. Forest should be really confident, but obviously looking further down the line, I think it's a good thing for whoever wins tomorrow night, because I think Forest was so good. And I think now, because I was thinking United might sneak through, I think Forest will go through, but people will have Forest up. And I think
that suits us and Luton, I think.
Yeah, it does. It's perfect, because we kind of mentioned that it's been really difficult for us to have this narrative as being the underdog going into this Luton game, because we're not, because we finished above the league, etc. So to deal with that, I think Stephen Chicken and David Archie covered it really well in their preview pod and that as well. But again, it's just perfect scenario for me or Luton or whoever, because I knew, Matt, and let's be honest, if you looked at compared them 2 games back to back, taking our bias out of it, Forest are going up, aren't they? They were brilliant, man. And but I just hope we've booked our place there on Monday and we can go and watch it, because I don't know about you guys, but if we get beat tomorrow, I think watching a playoff semi-final second leg on Tuesday is, I think I've Place in the Sun's going to come on our episodes. I might watch Eurovision back, because I won't want to be anywhere near that. But
Moldova, mate, that's what you want to watch. The guy looked just like you.
How many Bladesmen walked out the ground? They're not incredible, weren't it? They're hardly, there were loads missing, weren't they, going and walking out. And then it was ridiculous, because even when they got that goal back, they had a chance to pump it in the box again. And you're thinking, as if they're going to get a 2-2 here. But that's why we love football. It's unpredictable. And in a way, Sheffield United, they'll be absolutely delighted. They've got half a chance on Tuesday. But for me, Forest were really good. And I think that was a worried sign maybe for whoever gets in the final from tomorrow, because it's like, yeah, okay, the Bournemouth game was a bit of a shootout and that as well. And then the whole game was a bit of a strange one. They made the 7 changes, didn't they, and that as well. But so you're looking for a bit of evidence that Forest are maybe, wow, you didn't get that yesterday. They were so good.
It's not over. I'll throw to Phil. I don't know if you watched it, Phil, but for me, it's not over. I think Sheffield United have got a lot in them, and it'll be a decent game. But I'm more worried about us first and foremost. Get us out of the way, and then I might be able to enjoy the Forest, or not enjoy, depending on how it goes. But hopefully we can sneak against Luton. But Phil, what did you make of it? Anything? To
I think
add?
if there's one team that will challenge Forest and dig in a little bit, it will be Sheffield. I think it'll be a really tough game for Forest. I won't watch it. I have no interest in watching anyone else's team apart from ours. Purely because I don't want to. If we do get lucky tomorrow and get through to the final, I don't want to be nervous about playing somebody else who looks really good. You lot are just telling us there Forest look like bloody Liverpool and Man City. I don't want to hear that. I want to hear that they've got some issues and the bang average. Do you know what I mean? So.
It reminds me of that MK Dons. We discussed it last week where we were so good down there, weren't we? With Jack Hunt scored two goal cushion, happy days going into there, and obviously that's tempered it a little bit. And then all of a sudden, within a blink of an eye, MK Dons are level on the night, and that could happen at the City Ground on Tuesday. That's why we were
talking about last week, where we were talking about the fact that you don't feel quite nervous, you feel quite confident. Like just talking about it tonight, it's a big game tomorrow. I'd totally forgotten about the game Saturday. We were playing cricket, and we're having a few beers after the game, we're having a chat, and little lad were like, game on Monday night. I'm like, oh God, yeah, there is. I says, don't you dare cry. He says, I will cry if I want to, because I'll get emotional if it don't go right.
At least he cares.
Well, it's incredible. It only dawned on me again today. It's like I'm watching them Premier League games and stuff. It goes, and who could join them in this league? Huddersfield and Luton, and like my friends at work were like, wow, that's your game tomorrow. Like, bloody hell, it is, isn't it? And it's like, because obviously when games are apart, you've normally got a bit of a rest, but it's on tomorrow night. What a day it's going to be tomorrow. I just don't know how I'm going to cope, man.
I just hope that win, lose or draw, whatever goes on, well, it's not going to be a draw, but win or lose, I just hope that the fans will stay behind and just give them a little bit of something back for the work during this season. So I think the players and the management, I think they've just been absolutely brilliant. and what a way to finish at home under the lights. And like I say, win or lose, I really do hope people will stick around and applaud the team and their efforts, because it's been absolutely brilliant this year.
Kosi, you wanted to know how people were going to spend the day, didn't you?
Spend it. Are people just going to book themselves in meetings all day so that they can't think of anything else but the meetings? But your mind's going to wonder that as well. But some people are going to put the day off and get to the cherry tree at 12 o'clock and get on the gas. Or some people just going to walk and talk on some people. How are people going to cope, man, with the day? Because, oh, God, it's going to be so difficult, isn't it? I think these players' second legs are horrible, man.
Let us know online while I read some of these out if you can, and I'll try and read a few. But Dag Barnett says, I'm strangely calm and looking forward to tomorrow night. Convene at Magic Rock.
You won't be
and
when
getting
you
a bit early.
Dag. You'll be breaking it like us all, man.
It's going to get there early to enjoy the atmosphere. Trust Carlos and the team for a tough challenge. Cam Fry says, I'll be watching the game in a pub. Probably will be the only ones interested in the game in Hanover.
Sambuca, mate. Get a pint of it before game.
In Germany. After the game, hopefully buying flight tickets to London. Simon Morgan says, so honestly, I'm not nervous about it at all. These playoffs are an absolute bonus. What we have achieved is fantastic, and fingers crossed it continues all the way, obviously, but we are capable of doing the impossible. Tom Dyson says, busy day at work, no time to think about the game until after 5 p.m. Probably.
Whatever, Tom. Whatever,
I don't believe him.
Whatever.
Slacky says, I'm attending every Google video chat whilst working from home in full kit and a John Smith Stadium virtual background. That's what we've got there. That's what we like to hear. Anything coming down. Leo says, I've booked the day off work, travelling up from Oxfordshire. Richard Hookie says,
12 league. See you there, mate.
Richard says he's bricking it. Steve Blackburn said, that's about Forest. Terry702 says, I will be driving up from Leicester full of nerves after blagging the day off. So those are the ones that are coming in at the moment. Josh Quirk says he's really calm about tomorrow. Never seen Josh Quirk calm in my life. That's a blatant lie.
You know what, Matt? Some people will be looking for another Huddersfield double because obviously the Giants are playing at Spurs Stadium the day before, so it could be for any Huddersfield people. It could be some weekend.
Yeah, it could be a weekend. Could be some weekend, hopefully. But yeah, fingers crossed. But what we've got coming up so thank you, Cos, thank you, Phil, for that. What I've got coming up now is Brady recorded an impromptu warm up earlier. So what we've got now is a live recording that we've done with Brady from earlier today because he has to look after his wife tonight and make sure that everything's okay, plump the pillows, etc. So he's not allowed. He's a top man, is Brady.
What a guy.
So what we'll do is we'll roll in Brady's warm up that he did with me earlier. It's 25 minutes, so enjoy it, guys, and I'll stay around in the chat while it's playing if you want to say anything. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, lads. Right, so it's perfectly balanced as all things should be. Welcome to the warm-up episode 74. I'm your host, Brady Frost, and to tackle the biggest game in town season so far, I'm joined by Matt Shaw. Matt, how are you?
I'm all right, Bradlejuice. How are you?
I'm good, mate. It's like the old days, me and you on the warm-up. Yeah,
we just need Chris back on, don't we? And then there we are.
Yeah, and then Josh, and then Tom. You know, there's been a few changes.
Slackers.
Yeah, exactly, mate. OG's here. Well, anyway, well done to everyone who's stuck around this long to hear the preview. So let's get straight into it. Matt, you were there on Friday night. It's finally poised for Monday, isn't it? How are you feeling about this one?
Yeah, it's 50-50. I still think it's 50-50 because games in the playoffs, I don't think home away advantage really counts for much. It's down to a straight shootout, isn't it? So there's just one nagging thing at the back of my mind. I'm 30 years being a Huddersfield fan, it's usually a kick in the crotch most of the time. But, with the odd nice moment here and there. But there's just shades of this. There's a big away end, raucous away end at Luton. Absolutely brilliant point. Well, not a point, but a draw in the first leg. A lot of fans thinking it's almost job done, which worries me. I know that doesn't always translate over to the players, and typically it doesn't. And I know they'll give it the full beans on tomorrow night, but there's just a little story about how my life got turned upside down. I'd like to take a minute, Brady, just sit right there and I'll tell you how I cried all night and didn't go to school because of a town called Peterborough, if you like. But there's just shades of, I don't know why, but I just can't get 1992 out of my head where we went to Peterborough. There was a big raucous away and we played well, second half in particular, probably could have come away with a win, and then went 1-0 up early at Leeds Road and everyone thought it was job done and they stung us really late. And that's, I don't know, playoff experience in the back of my head is just sort of sat there going, beware of, don't write anybody off and just beware of, the team and give them full respect. And I think if we give them full respect, then hopefully we can edge it.
Yeah, and you said it yourself, mate. I know, obviously, we're Town fans. We like to be pessimistic at times, but we've said it many a time this season. Carlos has been busting those like
Ghostbuster.
bad records.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Left, right, and centre. So who knows? I mean, yeah, I know you guys are talking about it on the main pod. We've not won a playoff game at home, but maybe it's the time to change that. We will see. But let's set the scene a little bit. Obviously, we had the 1-1 draw on Friday night, but Luton are actually winless in their last 5 meetings against Huddersfield, drawing 4 and losing 1. So I had a look at the away form and the home form of each team, as I like to. I know you could say form goes out the window with the playoffs, but Luton have lost just 2 of their last 6 away matches. The one being the 7-0 defeat to Fulham, and the other being the 2-0 defeat to Huddersfield Town. Our home form in the last 6 is just 1 defeat to Bournemouth, 4 wins and a draw. So, yeah, Matt, I suppose I'm asking the question.
Everything you've just said is irrelevant.
It's irrelevant. It is irrelevant.
Yeah, I know. You do your homework and stuff, and I do the same, don't you? And then people will just say, "Yeah, it's meaningless." And unfortunately, I think it is. It's just a straight shootout, isn't it? And it's just one moment on the night. It can be one decision, it can be one mistake, and the game just completely turns. And you've got to be professional. You've got to make sure you do your own job first and foremost. The fans have got to get behind, put pressure on Luton as well. I think that's the big thing. The cowshed loyal in situations like this are always good. So hopefully the rest of the ground can really get behind, rally, and really make it difficult for Luton. And I think that's key. We know how Luton will play. They'll look for those diagonals, and it's a mistake-free method of playing, and that's why Luton have done so well this year. And like I say, they deserve absolute respect. Their record against the top 6 isn't that great away from home. I don't think they've beaten any of the top 6 away from home, but again, it doesn't matter because they can get a draw and win on penalties. It's just, and it just takes that one moment. The referee not giving a penalty for either side, and things like that, and or he gives it, or he gives one and doesn't give the other. It's just so finely poised, and Luton are a good. The only thing I'll say is Luton are a good side, and they deserve full respect. And if they don't get it, we will get stung, and that's as simple as that. Really.
Yeah, definitely. And not to bum everyone out, but we've seen Town struggle at times when there's a quick turnaround between games. Do you think that's going to have an impact on the game tomorrow?
Yeah, I do. But I think it also has an impact on them as well. We saw at the end of the game, we saw Ollie Turton went off with an injury, didn't he, at the end of the first half. Levi Colwell's not played because he can't do 2 games in a week. So will he come back in? We'll talk about it in a bit. Luton, Henry Lansbury went off, didn't he? There was Reece Burke went off injured as well. They're having injuries. Will Adebayo be back? Maybe they're saving him for the last game. I don't know. They've been quite quiet on that. Luton put a lot into that first hour against us. They really sort of went out with the intention to blow us away, in the first bit, to try and take it away from us early and then defend, I think. And they almost did it. And I think they'll come at us hard again at the early part of the game. And it's really about keeping your heads. And will that have an effect? Yeah, it will do. The later it goes on and the tighter it is. And you hope that Huddersfield's rotation, in the last few games of the season, bringing players in, bringing players out. Carlos has done this with the last game in mind, and hopefully, it pays dividends. But, like I say, it just, if they're one up at the time, it's going to be so difficult to take that lead away from them, no matter how fit you are, because, the adrenaline kicks in, and, with Wembley at stake, it's going to be really difficult. And like I say, it's a real 50-50, and, they will have players injured and carrying knocks, but, the adrenaline will probably carry them through.
Yeah, and I've seen, pundits have made us kind of strong, well, not strong favourites, but favourites now to progress. And I think, like you say, it kind of adds, not that Town have been too concerned about pressure being piled on by other people, but I think it just adds a little bit. And I suppose you were talking about things in the back of your head. I think we've touched on it quite a bit, but they're very, us in 2017, I kind of feel like it's their chance. But, we've been good at home. We've beat them at home already. So we'll see. I think I'm trying to make us excited, but I think since we started doing this, Matt, you're making me more nervous. But
Sorry.
no, it's fine.
I'm
It's
nervous,
fine. To be honest, I'm nervous too. But we've been here before. We'll talk about key players then for each team, starting with Luton. So I'm going to jump in on this. I think Harry Cornick, he's always looked dangerous. I think when we play Town, he was in the 2 with Jerome on Friday, 12 goals, 4 assists this season. Yeah, just always a player that catches the eye for me, a bit of a menace. And depending on who we play in defence, which I'm sure we'll come on to, I think he's one to watch out for. Like I say, whether he goes and partners with Jerome again, or if Adebayo comes in, he's the one I think we need to stop if we can. So yeah, tricky one. But Matt, who did you go for from the Luton side?
Yeah, so Luton's game plan primarily, I know they're not all long ball and they can pass it a little bit in midfield, and they do prickle a bit, don't they, if you accuse them of being a long ball team. But they do play that diagonal a lot. That sort of, and they do it, and they change the point as well. So they'll do it from the right hand side and they'll do it from the left hand side, and it's that diagonal ball and the accuracy of it to the striker which is going to be the main issue. In the home game, Tom Lees absolutely did a stunning job on Adebayo. Back in the league. So again, for us, we've got to stand up to that, and for them, their accuracy needs to be spot on. And Cal Naismith is one of the best centre backs in the league this season, and he has a decent left foot, and he can hit that diagonal ball. He's probably going to be their main man. He'll probably take a penalty as well if they get one. And the other side, you've got James Bree as well, who's done really well to come back from that move to Aston Villa, which didn't go through. Which did go through, but didn't happen really for him. He had a bad time there. So, yeah, glad you do. I'd say Cal Naismith is the key player, but there's players around that as well, little sub-key players like Bree at the other side, Sonny Bradley, and whoever they've got as the focal point up front, whether that's Cameron Jerome or Adebayo, to sort of win that first header. And what they'll do is they'll swarm around that ball, and then, and leave people like Cornick will swarm for the second ball, and that's where, key players come in for us.
Yeah, definitely. And you touched on Naismith. I picked him for the preview on Friday. I thought he was great. I thought Sonny Bradley was everywhere for them. He was like very, it felt like very like Sunday League. I'm everywhere as a defender kind of thing. But he was great. I thought. Good player. Yeah, good player. Good. And I know you guys have reviewed it earlier, but I think it was frustrating to concede that set piece, but it was also a fantastic delivery and good finish. So yeah, like you say, it's going to be tricky. I think Town key player for me in this one though, Toff. 3 goals in his last 3 home appearances. Like we've touched on here, Luton are a solid defensive team. So it is tricky. I think obviously our pitch is a little bit bigger and it'll give us a bit more space. And I think you touched on it there, Matt, but it was the same for me. Luton looked quite tired second half, I thought. Like the injuries catching up with them. And we have options off the bench, and I just wonder if we can get him behind and stretch the defence. I think Toff could get some joy because he's, I think teams would get wise to it, but he seems to still be ghosting in, and Sinani, I thought, had a great game on Friday. He's put in a couple of decent crosses, and I think Toff could have some joy down that side. But who did you go for?
I've gone more defensive. There's 2 really. I think set piece delivery is key. So Sorba Thomas if he plays, but for me, I think the main key man's going to be Jonathan Hogg. I think he's going to play in a back 3 again, and it'll be a case of those diagonals. And Jonathan Hogg is going to be the man to pick up the second ball, the knockdown and the fall down. It'll be his leadership and his command at the back, which will be really important for Tom Lees and I think Levi Colwill on the day. So Hoggy for me is the key man, and he will set the tempo from the back, the leader, the warrior, and it's the second balls. And if we need him, he'll be pushed into midfield later as well, like he was for a brief spell in the away leg. So Hoggy for me, especially in defence and going forward, set piece delivery from likes of Sinani and Thomas is going to be key, and hopefully it's a good day.
Yeah, I mean, Hogg's a good shout there. Obviously, he's got playoff experience, not just with us, but with Watford as well. Because, I think the other thing is, not that it seemed to matter on Friday, but a lot of these players are quite young and they've not really experienced, the the pressure that comes with this. I think Hogg will be key for that as well, like you say.
Yeah, there's 7 or 8 who have, Lee Nichols, I think, has had a little bit quite a while ago. I can't remember if it was Wigan or MK. Who else has had it? Matty Pearson, who's maybe on the bench. Turton won it last year in League One for Blackpool, didn't he? Toffolo, I think's had it at some stage. Levi, obviously not. Tom Lees has lost in the Championship playoffs twice, in the final and semi-final. Hoggy's been there. Danny Ward's done it with us twice. Jordan Rhodes, been there 3 times with us. There's a lot of experience winning and losing there, so hopefully it'll help calm the other ones down. Such as your Colwills and your Tinos and John Russell, etc. Although John Russell's probably the calmest man in the planet, isn't he? So
he's too calm, mate. It scares me every time. Like I know he's not going to lose it, but he worries me so much.
Yeah.
But no, you're right. A lot of experience there, which is good. But anyway, let's hear what the Luton fans had to say, because it's time for the view from the other side. So I caught up with Kev from Luton Town Supporters Trust again after the game on Friday, and here's what he had to say.
We've lost to a pub side. We've literally lost to a pub side.
Hi Kev, thanks for joining me again. So the first leg's over. It's finally poised at 1-1. What did you make of the match?
Hi guys, thanks for having me back on. I thought it was a fairly even match. I thought draw was a fair result. I thought the longer that the game went on, Huddersfield came into it. But I thought we dominated the first half. We were unlucky not to go in front. Both teams could have had penalties in that first half, couldn't they? Should have had penalties in that first half. But the longer that the first half went on, I thought we were just getting going, just getting into the game. We had that chance which was blocked just before half time. And then obviously the formation change from Huddersfield. You dominated the second half without really creating anything. And I think the longer that the game went on, the more we were comfortable just setting up a one-leg shootout on Monday. So I thought it was a fairly even match, as they have been all through, and as I kind of expected it would be, really. All to play for on Monday.
So I thought the first leg was a lot more end-to-end and open than we were expecting. Do you think Luton will adopt similar tactics on Monday?
I'm not sure we'll employ similar tactics. I think Friday night there was a clear intent to try and win the game and take a lead to your place, and use the atmosphere that was at fever pitch and everything else. And it just led to sending us forward. The fact that it was an early goal as well probably meant that it was going to be more end to end than maybe it should have been or needed to be. And no, I don't see us doing the same thing on Monday. I think we'll look to soak up pressure on Monday and maybe hit Huddersfield on the counter-attack. But the one thing that I do know is that these boys haven't come all this way to leave anything behind. So they're gonna give everything that they've got on Monday. They'll leave nothing behind, no regrets, no doubts, no nothing like that. So whatever they've got left in the tank, and let's be fair, that's not a lot because of the injuries that we've had to finish off the season. Whatever we've got left will be left on that pitch on Monday night.
And finally, how are you feeling about the game after what you've seen on Friday night?
Right now, I'm okay. Whether it's the same when I walk through the turnstiles on Monday night, that'll be probably be completely different. No, in all seriousness, I'm okay about it. Huddersfield are now favourites for the tie. You should go on and win the tie from here in front of your own fans. But it's yours to lose now. We've got absolutely nothing to lose. We can just give it everything we've got, as I said in the last answer. Give it everything we've got. If we're good enough and it gets us to Wembley, then absolutely fantastic. But whatever happens, this has been a memorable season, a magical season, one that has consolidated us as a championship side and maybe shown one or two sides that we're not to be underestimated. So hopefully we can do that again on Monday. Hopefully, from my point of view, we get a winning goal and can do whatever's needed to protect it. But whatever happens, I go to Huddersfield on Monday. I know that the team's going to give their all. It's just whether we're good enough to get the result now. It's going to be tight. It's going to be nervy. There isn't going to be a lot in it. We've had 3 games. There hasn't been a lot between two sides in any of them. Don't expect there to be a lot in it on Monday night. So whoever can be clinical at the right moment will win. And, I just hope and pray that that's us.
Cool. So we've heard from Kev. Now it's time for You're the Boss, Matt. So I suppose this is the main question, really, going into this one. It's how would you line Town? I can't speak today. What would be starting 11 be for Town? I think we could maybe make a couple of changes in this one, with it being, the home leg, and maybe we want to be on the front foot a little bit more. Obviously, we're looking to count in the away, but how would you go for it?
I think I'd go with the back three. I think Nichols, Tom Lees, Hogg, and Colwill as your goalkeeper, and back three, Toff and Pippa as the wing backs. I thought the substitution of Pippa really helped alter the game in the second half, just by expanding down that right flank, and with the space, I would pick him if Turton is fit. John Russell midfield with Lewis, and then I'm not sure whether I would pick. I thought Dwayne was outstanding second half. Dwayne Iniesta, it was the second half. I'm not sure whether I would start with him, Sinani and Ward, or try and throw Thomas in. I'm a little bit unsure. I'll probably play safe and go with Dwayne, Sinani and Danny Ward to start. But it just depends how fit Sorba Thomas is. If he's fit enough, play him instead of probably Dwayne, and that's really harsh on him being man of the match for me. But it's the playoffs, and we need the delivery from right and left from them both. So that's probably what I would do.
Yeah, that's the exact same line as I've gone for, to be honest. Like you say, I thought some of the tweaks Corberan did second half, like you say, Pippa came on, made a big difference. I think Levi should come back in. A bit harsh on Naby, because I thought Naby had a good game, actually, to be fair.
He's been superb for a few months, hasn't he? He's such a... I'd really like Naby. He's such a great guy as well. And you can tell everybody likes each other at the club, and people like Naby are absolute gold dust who, when they're not playing, still turn up with a smile and help everyone. There's a lot of players who sulk and whinge when they're not playing, and he's not one of them. So it'll be a sad day if Naby leaves at the end of the season due to his contract situation. But hopefully he's here a little longer.
Yeah, contract Naby. Maybe that's it. He's playing for a contract. I don't know. Yeah, he has been great. I think, like you say, in his attitude. I noticed a lot of the young players. I think we've touched on it before. Have said how much he can help the lads. So Naby's unfortunate to miss out, but I think bring Levi in for this. I think his ball playing capabilities, I think, could really help us here.
Speed as well.
Yeah.
Speed and recovery. It's his recoveries as well. Levi's he reads. I know Naby's almost 10 years old, isn't he? But it's just the way Levi reads the defense. The second balls as well, and the recovery speed's a little bit better than Naby's. Naby's good at other things. In the air, Naby's better, but it's that sort of recovery really, which is really key. But on the flip side, you could argue that when Cal Naismith hits that diagonal to the other flank, that Levi's got more of an issue in the air than Naby does. So, it's horses for courses. But, you can't really argue if either one gets picked, can you?
No, exactly. I think that's the same with most corporate lineups, to be honest. We're doing well, so it's like I'm not really going to question. But I'm picking it this way because Naby's going to do exactly what he did in the league game against Luton at home. He's going to come on and get a winner.
Hopefully.
Fingers crossed. But I think
won't be a more popular scorer, I don't think, in and out of the club, would they?
That's true. Yeah, here's hoping. Let's will that into existence. I'm saying I've gone Sinani, Ward, and Holmes. I think Sorba. Yeah, just to be honest, I think this one could go the distance.
Yeah.
And I think the subs are key in this one. And if that's the case, I think Dwayne was great second half. You're spot on, but he really showed up, and I think he has done that a few times this season. So full credit. But I think because this could go the distance, subs are key in this one, and I think Sorba and Tino should play some part because I think Tino, I know he got 30 minutes against Bristol City. Nearly scored. He's a different player, isn't he? Gives us a different option. Same with Sorba. You touch on with the set pieces, and I just think those two
Tino can really. Tino's a really good defensive substitution in a lot of ways because when the game's open, when the game's tight, we've seen him come on and really struggle to sort of affect things. Because when someone doubles up on him, he struggles a little bit. But when the game's a little bit looser, like at Coventry, Bristol, who weren't really paying much attention to anything, in games like this where he's got the space to manoeuvre, he's deadly. And if we find ourselves in front against Luton with sort of 20 left, Tino's a really good sub then too, because they're going to be pushing forward and and Tino in space is really dangerous with his strength, power, and running ability. Whereas if we're chasing the game, then Tino's probably going to not be quite as effective. But as a defensive substitute to alleviate the pressure, Tino's a really useful asset, and hopefully we might see more of him going forward.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's how I see him. Like, just creating space for others, and like you said, they'll double up on him. But yeah, I don't know. I think I've said this on the pod with Tom quite a lot, but I just have a feeling he's going to have like a big moment. And I know it's not worked out, and maybe, Tino, if you want to pick this game, please do, mate. Please be this game where you make it, have a big part to play. But yeah, subs are key. To be honest, well, we'll come on to it now, Matt. How do you see this run going? I think it could be extra time for me.
I don't know. I don't really want to say. I don't know. There's that nagging Peterborough 90 thing in the back of my head, but that's just general pessimism from 30 years of Huddersfield Town following. I think we can edge this in hopefully 90 minutes, but I'm loath to say that just in case it comes back to bite me. So I'll stop there. But it's like I say, it's 50-50. I think we can edge it, but there's just that nagging 1992 experience in the back of my head.
Well, mate, I wasn't born then. Got to cast off the memories. Got to cast it. Like, it's fine. Look, Carlos, let's spin this positive. I'm going 1-0. It's going to be tight. It's going to be edgy, but I think we'll just get over the line. We've had an amazing season. Carlos has, smashed all those bad records left, right, and centre, and I think this is going to be another one. Let's be hopeful. I know we're both nervous and cagey. It's not even it's Sunday. It's not even game day yet, and I'm already a bag of nerves. But I just think we're going to do it. I think we're going to just get over the line. It's going to be tight. It's going to be cagey. Just 1-0 Town. I think we're going to do it. It's going to be a hairy moment, but I think we'll just get over the line.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, mate. Well, let's leave it on a positive. We think we're just going to do it slightly, slightly tense about it, and maybe don't want to talk about it too loud. But we'll see. I think we'll leave it there, Matt, because me and you probably need to go chill out.
Yeah.
But God knows what we'll be like on Monday. But thanks to everyone for listening in this one. Thanks to Magic Rock for sponsoring as always. Thanks to Matt for coming on. Nice to relive the old days for the warm-up. So who knows what will happen? We might be back to preview another game, but we'll see. But fingers crossed, up the Town and come on.
There's a team that is dear to its followers. The colours are bright blue and white. They're a team of renown, and they're the pride of the town. And the game of football is their delight. And all the while upon the field of play, thousands loudly cheer them on the way. Often you can hear them say, who can beat the town today? And then the bells will ring so merrily, and every goal shall be a memory. So town, play up and bring that cup back to Huddersfield. So town, play up and bring the cup back to Huddersfield.